Zyuden Sentai Kyoryuger has made an unprecedented return thanks to a crossover with the current team of Super Sentai, so let's talk about it. Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and before I get into my thoughts on the Ohsama Sentai KingOhger and Zyuden Sentai Kyoryuger crossover event, be sure to leave a comment letting me know if you enjoyed these episodes or just KingOhger in general. I'd also love to know your thoughts on Kyoryuger since it's important here, and I myself haven't seen the season. That's actually why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to talk about this crossover from the perspective of someone keeping up with KingOhger, but hasn't seen Kyoryuger, and why despite that, this whole thing really worked for me. This actually might be two of my favorite episodes so far. Part of that might be that KingOhger hasn't been that interesting to me in the recent few episodes. I'm not going to get into it right now, but a lot of the recent elements during the time skip just haven't been that impactful for me. So having this brief change into status quo was really exciting for me. And that's what made this arc really work for me actually. Even without the Kyoryuger stuff, this is still an interesting arc in the KingOhger storyline. It's been well established that the threat for part 2 is a cosmically powered king of the universe that introduces himself by tossing planets across Shugadam, so it feels well within his abilities to just toss the whole team into another dimension because he's done with them. He doesn't want to kill them, he's just like, go away, get out of here. And then since it's been well established as well that the KingOhger setting is this fantastical alternate Earth called Terra in translations, it's so much fun to have a plotline with them ending up on the normal planet Earth and interacting with the environment we're used to. The Kyoryugers feel almost like a spice element, but they also feel very necessary. If they were a bit of a spice element, then it probably would feel unnecessary to have them here. Instead of making some other random threat to create conflict while the KingOhgers are on normal Earth, why not bring back an older threat to celebrate a 10th anniversary? The suits they chose to do this are also incredible. Like, the main villain is a cool reference, I think, to the original DeBoss, but the super amalgamation DeBoss is incredible. He's also, I guess, a reference to the other main villains in Kyoryuger, but it's just a really cool suit. And I wish they found some way to incorporate Sledge from Dino Charge. Just, you know, he's not in Kyoryuger, but I think it would have been a fun reference since all the other villains from both of those shows are included. I'll also take the opportunity to mention right now that I haven't seen Kyoryuger, like I said, but I have seen both seasons of Dino Charge, and that's a very nostalgic season of Power Rangers for me. So while I don't have Kyoryuger character nostalgia, seeing like the Dino Charge suits back in action and then eventually the Dino Charge Megazord stock footage was pretty nostalgic. So I'm not completely immune, which might play a part into why I enjoyed some of this stuff. So like the villains are from Kyoryuger, Kyoryuger's heroes are guest starring now, and the plot is pretty central to Kyoryuger's themes. It doesn't really relate to KingOhger, but it still feels like an episode of KingOhger. And Prince is a really important part of that. He's pretty much the focus character of this arc as he develops into his own unique combination of both teams' ideals and suits. It's really smart because I'm able to connect more with the Kyoryuger elements because they're able to fit a compelling origin story into that season's lore despite all the years since then, and it's facilitated by the elements of the show that I am currently watching. The Kyoryugers get like a new leader, while the KingOhgers get like a new extra hero and some new equipment. By the end of the crossover, like, he literally says, "Thank you, kings of another planet, for teaching me to be the king of this Earth," but that is like a thing that happened in the Kyoryuger season, so I think he really perfectly combines everything. That's not to say that the Kyoryugers themselves weren't enjoyable in this. Crossovers pretty much live or die by the interactions between the different casts, and there are a ton of fun ones here, so I would say it lives.
Oh my.
I know that Kyoryu Black is a ladies' man, so it's really funny that his whole gimmick here is flirting with Queen Himeno, and like it kind of succeeds. I don't know how you would interpret that. They like smile at each other, and she doesn't really kill him when he saves her, so I guess it's however you interpret that. I really love that Rita and Lucky Road just become friends, and I think he said he has a crush on them, so good for them, I guess. I would not have guessed that to be an element at all going into this plotline, but it happened, and since it connects to Rita's Mo Fun thing, I think it's incredibly adorable. Gira using his tyrant persona to whip Prince into shape is really satisfying. It reminds me of the first time he did it in Order order to symbolically oppose Heraclius as the current king of Shugadam. This time he uses it to inspire a different character, but it's still kind of a gag like it has been in recent episodes where he says he's gonna conquer Japan because now he's on Japan. So I really enjoyed that. The other characters just have some little interactions that are fun to me. I specifically like how Kyoryu Blue has interactions with both Kaguragi because they're old, and then he gets the attention of Jeremy because he's in an interspecies relationship. And then even between some of the characters from the same seasons, we got some fun stuff. I really liked how the swordsman of the Kyoryugers is the mentor of Prince because his transformation device is now a sword. I also think it's interesting how this also manages to tie into KingOhger lore. The fact that Dugaded came to this earth before and revived the boss is so awesome to me. It kind of answers what he was doing in the 2 years Terra had peace. He was just messing around with other planets, I guess. And I love that it connects to this threat to the current KingOhger storyline, but it's not like an explicit victory against Dugaded. It really fleshes out the universes of both KingOhger and Kyoryuger. Then apparently the humans that populate the weird alternate Earth are settlers from our Earth, and the Kyoryugers have the second half of the mural from Terra, and the Shugadam castle is just a big spaceship. That all feels kind of random to me. The show doesn't feel any different with the revelation that the humans are from our Earth. It's not like it was a big mystery. It just feels like something that was written to incorporate this relevance to KingOhger or justify the crossover almost. But there are already just fun connections to Kyoryuger with the ideas of KingOhger, like the different kings and their powers coming from the souls of big mecha robot friends. And then there's Dugaded and the different dimensions with KingOhger, already justifying the crossover in my opinion. I'm more excited than ever to see what happens next for KingOhger. We can see from the next episode preview that Mini Terra is going to be hitching a ride back to Terra while Gira is keeping the Gabri Caliber, and they're both going to allow a Shugad combination with Kyoryugen. So this whole thing is completely unprecedented for Super Sentai. We've gotten two-part crossovers in seasons before, but this time around we got a brand new toy for the older season that combines the aesthetics of the two Ranger seasons. Then that toy is going to remain a component of the current season's arsenal, which will allow them to hijack that older season's mecha and pilot their own version of it within the same cockpit. That is pretty damn cool in my opinion. And it adds fuel to the theory that the Kyoryugers aren't quite done with their involvement in the KingOhger storyline yet. After all, as far as we know, Kyoryu Red and Gold are still going off into space to fight Dugaded, so maybe when the KingOhgers go into their final battle, they'll have a little bit of help, or maybe not, and this ties into a Kyoryuger v Cinema, which I will also be okay with. And of course it would be disrespectful to not mention that the action is fucking awesome. No one does it like Koichi Sakamoto, dude. The KingOhgers finally do a normal roll call in team pose, including Jeremy, and it's combined with the Kyoryugers roll call, and we've got all the color explosions and stuff, and like, once again, I can't believe a shot like this isn't from a movie. I love all his classic flourishes applied to the KingOhger aesthetics. All the action is beautiful to watch, especially the ending fight, playing both theme songs over some of the most emotional moments. I love seeing all the Kyoryugers activate armed on during battle, teaming up with the associated kings. The mechas team up, which has some weird CG, but like the classic Kyoryugen stock footage plays. It's so surreal to me that like a Kyoryugen combination sequence happens in an episode of Ohsama Sentai Kyoryuger, but the guy that's doing it is like wearing KingOhger armor, but he's a Kyoryuger. What is happening? The fact this whole crossover happened within a couple of weeks of Dark Ranger appearing in Power Rangers and a similar reimagining of a legacy character appearing in Kamen Rider is also pretty surreal. Leave your thoughts in the comment section and check out my Patreon for ways to support the channel and gain other exclusive perks, and I hope to see you next time.